Hello and welcome to the Berkcast, the How to Train Dragon podcast. I'm your host HC, and with me Al.
Rush 2112.
And Wolf.
And today, we've been talking about villains a lot on this show, and there are plenty of villains to go around in this franchise. But then we stopped and thought, wait, most of these villains are kind of connected in a way. A lot of them know each other, a lot of them probably worked with each other. So we said, let's try and connect this complicated net. Let's see how the How to Train Dragon villains are kind of the same threat to Hiccup's ideologies. And since Rush is here for a short time, why won't you start? How do you see all of these villains connect?
Excuse me. Plain and simple. And I'm stealing Wolf's thunder here. But fungus.
I agree.
Well, thank you for coming for this episode of the Berkcast. We hope you enjoyed. I think this is pretty revolutionary. So yeah, explain to us how the fungus connects them all together.
I think it's self-explanatory. Anyway, but really, to pose a controversial idea here, it's dragons that connect them all.
I'm not
If
sure
dragons
how.
didn't exist, would these guys still be evil?
Maybe.
Well, at the same time, you could ask if there were no dragons, if Hiccup would ever be any good, because
No,
yeah,
because he's worthless.
well,
Toothless gives him his worth. Didn't you see anything about the hidden world?
I think I saw it way more than you do, especially this. I actually watched it
I got
this
the
morning.
DVD last week, and I have watched it twice a day, every day.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Doubt.
But I'll count it.
Dang it. My
I'll
bluff has
count.
been called.
Yeah, I'll counter it. I watched it this morning. It's fresh in my mind, and I remember that Hiccup is a word without toothless. The thing is, he needs to learn it. But basically, going back to the villains here. So we basically we have this group of dragon hunters. Generalizing it, we have Drago, we have Grimmel, Vigo, Riker, Krogan, Johan, and the warlords, and because Wolf will be angry at me if I won't mention him, there's Mildew. We know he apparently works for Drago at some.
There's also Dagger, there's also Alvin, there's also
But
Stoic at the beginning of the first movie, kind of.
But
and
here-
then the Red
Guess what their
Death.
common theme
but
is?
but
Hating dragons.
Well, the Red Death eats dragons. I don't know if it necessarily hates dragons.
yeah, but you mentioned Dagger, which you mentioned Dagger, and Stoic doesn't count because no, I don't count Stoic. At least not in the greater scheme of things. And also, Dagger is not necessarily connected because for the most part he was doing his own thing, and he wasn't a part of Vigo's army for much longer. And Alvin as well was kind of doing his own things. They're not necessarily in the business of selling dragons or they're not getting paid for any of this. The ones I mentioned are getting paid and are more connected to each other.
Debatable. We'll see. We'll get into it though.
Okay, but then if you want to debate about this, why do you think Dagger or Alvin should be in
Not so
this,
much Alvin,
equation?
but Dagger, because Dagger connects some of them, as does Stoic as well. That's why I say he should be in here, because he was, for a portion of the first movie, an antagonist, an obstacle for our quote unquote hero to get over. But also, both of those characters, Dagger and Stoic, are connecting links for some of these villains.
Yeah, but crossing paths with them doesn't necessarily mean you have a part in the greater scheme of things. Like again, when Stoic says I'll find the hidden world and seal it up, or that he's looking for the Red Death's nest, he's not necessarily doing this a cooperation with Grimmel or Drago or something.
That's the
He's
thing I'll
doing it.
argue. Could you not argue that Grimmel was influenced by Stoic? Because Grimmel knew of Stoic, and Grimmel definitely looked up to Stoic when he was a hunter,
Yeah, but
when
both
he
of them
hunted
have.
dragons.
We know for a fact both of them were aware of each other. We both know they've at least met once or at least heard of each other, and maybe even worked together at some point. Who knows? But at the same time, it's not. Mm, you know what? This is debatable. You
Again, that's
can
what I'm
look
saying.
at.
Like, you could argue by the way Grimmel talks of Stoic when he first meets Hiccup. You could argue that, again, Stoic influenced Grimmel somewhat. That Grimmel did see him as, someone to look up to, in a way.
Didn't you just watch it this morning, HC? Isn't it fresh in your mind?
Yeah, it's fresh in my mind. This is why I agree with it.
You're welcome.
It didn't seem like you were agreeing with it early on.
Yeah, but not necessarily that I'm not agreeing with it, but I'm just saying that like you can say that Grimmel and Stoic knew each other, worked together, had this appreciation for each other. At the same time, you can say that they've met, they told stories, and were like, oh, you're awesome, thanks,
Again,
you're awesome too,
I'm
and
not saying
and walk their separate ways.
Stoic, appreciated or respected
your
or even
biggest
liked
fan.
Grimmel, right? More so that Grimmel liked or appreciated or respected, I would say, Stoic, right? I don't know if Stoic would have respected Grimmel or even liked the man, but I think, Grimmel definitely respected Stoic.
Yeah, HC,
And
this doesn't connected doesn't mean connection by actual knowledge of knowing them. It could be a one-way connection. I
Oh,
could
yeah,
know
definitely.
about somebody and respect them, and that could, in fact, influence my actions.
Yeah, definitely. Just what I'm saying though, when you look at Grimmel and see that he is, he is kind of, in a sense, like we know Grimmel has heard of Drago at one point. We know that for sure because when he meets the warlords, one, he's friends with them, at least one of them. Second of all, he does tell a year since Drago's defeat and no further along with your dragon army. You see that he's aware of this plan. He has heard of this plan. So it is kind of brought to your attention how how much was he involved in this plan if he was ever involved in it, and considering that even as a dragon hunter, Stoic wasn't a big fan of Drago because he killed his friends. You can look at this in very different ways, but considering that chain that I'm talking about, Stoic was never a part of Drago's army.
Oh, sure.
And you can also say that Grimmel wasn't necessarily, but he done. But again, there's a connection to it. He was at one point involved with it, at least in the base of knowing someone who was there and not trying to stop it necessarily, not objectifying to it.
That's fair. If you're connecting them like this, then that's fair. And if you're connecting them in this way, then I definitely think Dagger deserves to be on this list. Sure, he became a, quote unquote good guy after a time, but he definitely was connected to all of this in a way for a little while.
Yeah,
So
but
pulling strings from beyond the grave.
Yeah, but the thing about Dagger though is that what connects him to Viggo and Riker at the start is that he kind of needs allies to take down Hiccup and get Toothless. And this motivation has been his own private matter since Riders of Berk. And the fact that he's teaming up with people who are connected to Drago and we know have been connected to Drago, this doesn't necessarily put him on this list because he's doing this out of personal vendetta, not necessarily to get make money out of it or conquer the world.
I don't think Johann's, well, okay, fair enough. He is in it to conquer the world, I suppose, not necessarily to make money. I don't think Krogan's in it to conquer the world or make money.
Well,
We don't really know why Krogan's in it. He just follows Drago.
Krogan is in it because we saw he's a servant of Drago. This is we see this.
But
Like
again, I mean,
he fells Drago off with his head. So even if he's not necessarily in it to do any of it, he kind of has no choice.
again, though, I would say like your reason for not including Dagger is, well, he's in it for personal motivation. I mean, what do you think wanting money or wanting to conquer the world is? It's personal motivation.
When I'm when I mean personal, I mean that it's his own personal matter. Like when I'll ask you this: when you go to work in a company that has a competitor company, like taking that competitor company down is you can argue that it's your own personal matter, but at the same time you're doing this for a group, you're doing this for the company you work for. But at the same time, if you're out to get revenge on this one person, and after you did it, you get you get your own personal satisfaction, but nothing around you is impacted. If Dagger would have gotten Toothless before teaming up with Vigo and Riker and whatever, that would have been just his own personal thing. After this, who knows if he would have gone down to hunt dragons.
Fair enough, I suppose.
Yep, I'm always right. But anyway, before we debate about this last thing I said, and I know you guys would want to debate about it, most likely. So we know for a fact that Vigo has probably been tied to Drago at one point. We know Krogan is, and we know the warlords are connected to Drago because, well, we see them kind of continuing his way at the beginning of Hidden World.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, I'm waiting. What do you have to say? Rush.
I'm laughing into my coffee. Shut up.
You're laughing into your coffee. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Coffee break for the first time here on the Berkcast. We are taking coffee breaks, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important.
Water break.
There's
sure.
I listened to a radio station, and they basically they have what they call e-brakes, emergency brakes, and it's not actually anything like bad necessarily. It's just when the flow of the show stops for something like way off track.
Mm-hmm. So they need that coffee.
Maybe.
Fair enough, I guess. So like I said, we know Grimald, Drago, the warlords, not Grimald, Vigo. Sorry, they're such a similar characters. I'm sorry, but
wow, they all look alike.
I meant in terms of the characteristics, not in terms of the design. But yeah, so we know the warlords are kind of continuing Drago's plan when we meet them in the Hidden World. So they're more connected to Drago than Vigo, for let's say. But at the same time, we know Vigo has at least come in contact with Drago, at least even if not face to face.
Right.
But here's something I thought about. When Vigo tells Hiccup, I don't want to conquer the world, opposed to some people, I kind of thought about this because in Triple Crossed, he does mention to Hiccup that there's a mysterious buyer from the north. Then this kind of brings the question that if he's so mysterious and he knows Drago, why doesn't he know that this mysterious buyer is Drago? And then I kind of thought about this. What if he actually means the warlords? Drago's supposed, for lack of a better term, minions coming to him to gather dragons to build up this army.
No, because they can't be the buyer because the show goes out of its way to show Krogan with Drago later, so it's definitely Drago who is the buyer.
No. I'm not saying that Drago isn't the buyer. I'm saying that, like he sends Krogan in to, do deals with Vigo and Johan and everything, that the warlords are the people he sees face to face, but he hasn't necessarily met Drago
No.
in person. No, okay.
No, I think it's very much kind of set up to be Krogan's his, face guy. The warlords would send their own people as well. Like they're just as high. They're not. They may not be, Drago level high, but they're just as high as Drago. Like they are, top leaders in the army. They're not going to be the people he sends to do business deals on his behalf. He'll send someone like Krogan.
Mm-hmm.
The warlords are leaders for the army. They need to be with the army, leading the army. That's where they stay. So no.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, where were they in How to Train Dragon 2 then?
Leading the army. That's why you don't see them.
Yeah, but we do see the army.
Yeah, and they're in there. You can point them out. Just go look through those images and look through all the tiny little people there and see if you can find them.
Well, you gave me something to look for to in whenever
if you do
I watch
that,
it.
More power to you. I'm not doing it.
Right.
Yeah, of course, because I'm the one who cares about being authentic in this show, and yeah.
Wait,
but this this does bring some question here. I did forget to add one name into this list, and I'm surprised you didn't mention him. Eret. He worked for Drago. He knows who Grimmel is. Where do you think he fits in this net? I kind of see him as like a professional rival to Vigo.
Eret hunted dragons. He got paid for it. That was his goal. And not
well,
die.
Obviously.
But I guess you could kind of put him in the similar light to Vigo, yeah. Although again, Vigo they were willing to, the dragon hunters like Vigo and Rekka were willing to keep the dragons for themselves somewhat, so they could use them to churn out other materials like Kronkel iron, stuff like that. They were willing to do that in order to sell off those bits and pieces as well. And they were willing to do other stuff with the dragons, again, in order to sell them off for different utility. Eret only sold the dragons to Drago. That's all he did.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair. But I think because we kind of went over this, and this is something that I was thinking about while thinking over this episode. We know all of this, and then you kind of get to Johan. How did he get into this business? Why does he see this business as profitable? And
Johan didn't get into the business, though. Johan's not there. Again, Johan doesn't trap dragons. He's not there to sell dragons. The only thing he's there is to find the one dragon that can help him take over the world.
But why would he look for that one dragon if someone didn't pay him for it? We know this is the motivation because Vigo actually says this is his motivation. He wants to sell that dragon and get rich.
Well, no, he says he also wants to use it to gain more power, so obviously he wants to take over the archipelago too, though. Like, I'm pretty sure he does go, have a big spiel of, muhaha, this is my evil plan, and sort of thing.
I need to revisit the last few seasons and
it has
the
been
last
a little
season.
While. Fair
Yeah.
enough. I might be misremembering myself.
Because what I recall is that, the reason Johan and Krogan kind of saw Vigo as expendable and betrayed him was because he's not necessarily going to play along with the rules should they capture the King of Dragons, because they want to they want to sell it to Drago, the mysterious buyer from the north.
Well, Krogan wants it for Drago. It very much looks like at the end, like you can tell that Johann and Krogan are also willing to betray each other as well. Like Johann's looking for the egg for himself. Krogan is the only one really earnestly looking toward the egg for Drago.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Krogan kind of does it for his master. Johann could do it for himself, but then again, you could also say that if Krogan gets the King of Dragons himself to Drago, they don't necessarily need to pay for it. But if Johann gets it and sells them, they need to pay for it. That's so this is like such a wide web that you can analyze and look through and see stuff and whatever. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we can say about this, because and then the one thing I will say is that Grimmel is on the one hand kind of connected to this web, but at the same time not, because again he knows of Drago, he knows about the he knows the warlords and everything, and man, sorry, I was distracted by something. So he knows about all of them, and then when they do get him to help him, take down Hiccup and everything, he does say, "I'm killing dragons, not retrieving them. Why bother me?" And then when the only thing that gets to him is the Night Fury. It's toothless. When at the end, when it seems like it seems like he helped them, he captured Toothless, which encourages all the dragons to come after him and everything. He then tells them, "I'm going to kill the Alpha, and then you can control them." So Grimmel, for all intents and purposes, is doing his own thing. Just because he is aware of them doesn't mean he necessarily works for them. Which honestly is looking at this like this, it is interesting.
Yeah. It could be, yeah. I think, right, for the sake of just connections, right, like we've talked a bit about it here and there, let's actually connect each character, I guess, in a way, and kind of see how things flow. Like, you have, let's, for the sake of clarity, I guess, let's start with Dagger, right? He breaks out of jail, and he's the one who eventually connects us to Riker, who eventually connects us to Vigo, who eventually connects us to Krogan. And it's through Krogan and Vigo that we're eventually connected to Johann.
Drago. Johann,
Johann,
yes.
and then it's through all three of them that we learn of Drago, and Krogan is the direct connection. And Drago is obviously the leader of the Warlord, the former leader of the Warlords before whatever happens to him.
Suffocated. We went through this.
Drowned. You don't suffocate underwater, you drown. There is a difference, HC.
Yes, there is an actual technical difference.
He had no air. Who cares?
No, he had water in his lungs. That is the technical definition of drowning.
People who define drowning and define suffocation care. People who declare people's cause of death care, HC.
People who have drowned and people who have suffocated care.
Well, they would, but they're dead.
He's dead. Moving on.
But yeah, Drago was obviously the leader of the Warlords, and then you have apparently, supposedly, possibly, in some way, Grimmel knew Drago. Either he respected him or they liked one another or something. I'll even go out and throw people a bone. Even though I hate this idea, maybe Grimmel was the one who gave Drago that dragon skin cloak that might have been made from Night Furies.
That's not a bad idea, considering His glove is also at least what he seems to wear is also fireproof. You know, he can touch Inferno and it doesn't burn him. That could be that's actually a good connection. Yeah, that's good. Okay, not connected to the episode. Rush, what? Just what?
That's just what it reminded me of when Wolf said they would care, but they're dead. That just reminded me of this. And I love this. I love this one right here. Anyway.
Well, everything that causes Scrappy Doo pain is good. Now, no one has any idea what I'm talking about.
I mean, they know
this,
Scrappy Doo. And
But
he was also technically a villain. How is he connected to How to Train Your Dragon villains, though? That is the question.
Oh,
Scrappy
boy.
Doo was Drago. Scrappy
the
Doo was basically inside of Drago, operating Drago as a robot.
Puppy power.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
there
how
you
it's
go.
all
Then-
connected. I connected
No,
it
no,
back
no,
for you.
guys, this is, and what you all know is this episode of the Berkcast is brought to you by Warner Brothers as a promotion for their upcoming direct-to-DVD Scooby-Doo movie, Scooby-Doo and the King of Dragons, in stores whenever.
See, you make fun, but that possibly has been a Scooby-Doo movie or might be a Scooby-Doo movie in the future.
No, they're making this every year. I think there are even 2 a year. I'm not sure.
That could very well possibly be a movie in the future. You joke, but I will laugh if it becomes a movie title in the future.
You know something? As while you guys discuss that, I'm looking up the direct. I want to see if there was a Scooby-Doo movie with dragon. Do direct to DVD. Okay, you talk. I'm
Us talk about.
I'm trying to find out any actor connection from Scrappy Doo all the way to How to Train Your Dragon.
I don't think you're gonna find anything.
7 degrees of Scrappy Doo.
Is this the new spin-off of 50 Shades of Grey?
No, it's the new spin-off of
Oh,
7
look at the
Degrees of
time.
Bacon.
Time to go.
Okay, there were vampires. There were pirates. There were goblins.
man.
Okay, no dragons.
This is what happens when. And this is what happens when I have a brain fart. I was gonna say, oh my god, this is what happens when Universal buys DreamWorks, but
Well, no. There has.
it's Comcast. I was trying to think of Comcast, but I kept thinking Costco for some reason. Costco
Okay.
has bought DreamWorks, guys.
Well, according to Wikipedia, there hasn't been a Scooby-Doo movie about dragons yet, which means
Not
it could have.
but there has been one where the main villain was an animatronic dragon that was piloted by people.
There was.
I think it was like a ghost dragon, but it was a flying.
Oh,
reptilian
there
lizard.
was like a reptilian one, but not
Flying
not
reptilian lizard.
Yeah, but okay. You know what? In Scooby-Doo 2, there was a dragon. Why not? Why not? This movie is so batshit insane. Who cares? They also made a spin-off with Daphne and Velma of all things. Oh well, this is a thing. Oh my god, why? But back to How to Train a Dragon. Anything else we have to say about this?
Not really. Like again, you can connect all of them in unique ways, I suppose. But and
Yeah,
it all
but
kind of does come back to, I guess, Drago in a way, right? Like he's the main factor, I would say. Like he's the one who gives. Without Drago, Vigo and Riker would obviously still be doing their jobs. They would still make money, but a little bit less money. Without Drago,
Yeah, but Drago seems to be like the center of this entire thing.
yeah, like without him, the warlords wouldn't be warlords. Obviously, like they wouldn't be where they're at in the third movie. Without him, Vigo and Riker would make money, but less money. Johan would probably still be making money and also still be looking to take over the world in his own way. And Krogan would definitely not be Drago's right-hand man. He'd be doing whatever it is Krogan does. Krogan things. Whatever those things are. And, Grimmel would still be doing his thing. But, again, Drago does connect them all. Like, he does have a connection to everyone here. He even has a connection to Stoic, who surprisingly has a lot of connections to people on this list too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, two of the people on this list anyways. Three of the people on this list anyways.
Yep. Well, with all that said, I think we are pretty much we connected everything. We agree that Drago is the center, but and yeah, that's pretty much it.
The 7 degrees of Drago.
Drago.
7 degrees of Drago, and also regarding this, I would totally love to see a fan fiction where Drago and Grimmel are like college buddies, and then they graduate and go their own ways. Drago wants to conquer the world, and Grimmel wants to eliminate that one species.
A very unsettling pause between Drago and Grimmel are and buddies. And,
Okay. So
in the context of fan fiction, I was not liking where that was
No.
going.
I meant that I only want to see a fanfic where they're college buddies. Got me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, college buddies, and then like when they're about to graduate, both of them like fighting in which directions they should go, and one goes in the direction of conquering the world, the other goes in the direction of just eliminate this one species of dragon. Go insane, writers.
Drago's sleep yells. That's what drives
also-
Grimmel to evil. That's what drives Grimmel insane eventually, and he becomes a serial killer in this modern AU of
snores.
yours. No, he sleep yells. In his sleep, he'll randomly go, ah! in the middle of the night, and it wakes Grimmel up, and eventually Grimmel goes mad and insane.
Yeah.
And in this story, Grimmel becomes a serial killer.
Yeah.
Nice.
Man, we got this. Fanfiction writers, go! I implore you to go do this. I would love you forever.
A fan fiction that writes about a serial killer. Jesus. Good luck with that one. That's a niche story in and of itself. But good luck. I wish you luck if you decide to write that.
And before this goes anymore south, now for this episode of the Berkcast,
It didn't already?
Well, it hasn't gone completely south like some other episode.
I'm
So
quickly
before-
trying to think of
Zodiac Killer.
quick. Hold on. Give me a second. and Maybe I can think of a way to drive it further into the hole.
Before he
Did
does
you
this,
just hear what
this
I
has been
said,
up on this
Wolf?
episode. I hope you enjoyed it.
I said reader egg Zodiac Killer.
Until next time on the
I was Rush, I think.
I was Wolf.
And you can find us on Twitter with Berkcast
Sanic,
Count of
gotta go fast.
Yeah, exactly. And on top, before you gotta go fast before Wolf goes bananas. I don't fucking know. But yeah, on Tumblr we are Berkcast.
Go fast before
Team.
Wolf goes south. Wink.
Man, in the name of my autobiography. And anyway, so
Wait, what? No.
Rush couldn't take it and he left.
I like
Well,
you. I don't like you that much.
okay. Yeah, same. Feelings neutral. And
Then don't name your autobiography that. Anyway.
Anyway, Russia's gonna need to go, so yeah, we pretty much signed off anyway, so yeah. We'll see you all next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.